Yes, we've got this very intriguing instrument here that Pauline is playing, and if you've been listening to the podcasts, you'll have heard this drone in the background. Well, not really in the background, in the foreground, I suppose. Pauline, could you tell us a bit about this briefcase you've got here that makes this noise?
Okay, it's a Shruti box, and it's based on a traditional Indian instrument. But this has been developed by a man called Stefan Cartwright in Cardiganshire, and he's put all these fancy keys on the back so that you've got all the tones and semitones of the scale, the whole chromatic scale, so you can create something that sounds quite unresolved. You can have the whole octave. So you can get lots of different tones and colours, and of course because you hear all the overtones from the reeds, because it's a bellows reed instrument, then it's quite interesting to sing with, because you find your voice just resting on those overtones and it changes the way you sing.
That's really fascinating. And I was just wondering, why have you picked the repertoire and the songs that you've picked for the show?
Well, I had a think. I wanted to use traditional Welsh songs, and I wanted to use songs that in some way had resonance for me with what was happening in the story. So, for example, obvious example, Hiraeth am Feirion really sums up Branwen's longing for her homeland when she's stuck and being held really in Ireland. And you get this wonderful image at the beginning of a mountain in the sea, kind of in the way of her view of Meirionnydd. And then in another part of the story, it's actually quite literal, because when the Irish are looking out at sea and Bran is on his way to supposedly rescue his sister, they think they can see a mountain in the sea. And the Môr y Bydormynydd. Yeah. So.
Now, you have quite a... Well, spoiler alert, Branwen dies on Anglesey, but you have a strong connection with Anglesey, don't you?
I lived on Anglesey for several years.
What kind of place is it as a place to live?
I loved it. The pace is slow. There's a sense of being connected, because of course there are 2 road bridges, and yet cut off and with the possibility of hiding away if you want to at the same time. I mean, there's a big mix of local folk, indigenous folk, and incomers, but it kind of works on Anglesey. The Welsh language is very strong, particularly in the middle, and then of course you've got the port at Holyhead, and that's quite exciting.
And we visited with Branwen's grave. Remember, and got attacked by frisky bullocks. And
it's almost impossible to find. It's almost impossible to find, which is part of the secrets of Anglesey. I mean, Anglesey is rammed with ancient history and standing stones, and some of them are very easy to find because they've become well signposted, but others are just stuck there in a field, and if you're lucky, you come across it.
So we encourage and invite you to go and have a rootle around Anglesey and find some of the locations and some of these beautiful spots.